Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome back to the Morning Mayhem. It's Chris coming back at you again this week. Super excited to have you with us. Thank you for tuning in. If it's your first time, welcome aboard the mayhem that we have going on here. We do want to say first and foremost, thank you so much for those of you that have been tuning in and returning visitors. If it's your first time again, welcome to the show. But thank you for tuning in. It's been a fun ride this past month. Got everything cranked back up in February. Our views have been going up. Our subscribers are going up. The interactions in the comments have gone up, and that's been great. In fact, our number one video to date right now, and it also has just a ton of comments, and I say a ton compared to the others, but great comments, great interactions, and that is the one I talked about last week that was actually blocked by YouTube, and they unblocked it just in the nick of time for it to go out. That was the Jon Stewart video that I did, one of the two Jon Stewart videos I did, but yeah, it went out on time, and it just blew up, and it has by far triple-digit views, which is more than any other video I have, and the interaction has been great. Some people appreciate my perspective. Some people I don't think do necessarily, but they appreciate that I tried to be as fair and balanced as I could, and went a little back and forth, kind of like he did. So it's been really interesting to go in the comments and see stuff. So definitely leave comments. I read them. I like to interact. If you're coming and you want to have a conversation, I'm all about it. If you're coming just to attack me, that's fine too. You can go ahead and do it. It's free country, freedom of speech. I'm all about that. I will say a couple of things before we get going in this as well. One, I'm getting into Twitter a little bit more, trying to get more involved there. I'm not the best social media guy in the world. I've got some tips and tricks that were handed to me. So I've been trying to get on Twitter specifically more, and you've got all my socials down in the show notes down there, descriptions, whatever. They're always there every single week, every single video. Go check me out, go find me. But if you see me out and about on Twitter, definitely say hi. Be patient with me because I'm still trying to figure out how to read it and then go into comments and then another comments and stuff like that. So it's a little weird, a little crazy for me. The other thing I want to say, the State of the Union address was last night. Okay. I want to watch it and take some notes, do some fact checking, kind of put my little thing on there, and then come back and share that with you. But I don't want to wait a whole week. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to have that as part of this show, but I'm going to release it Monday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time. That's Monday morning, 9 a.m. Eastern time on this channel right here. So this show today should be a little bit shorter, and that'll be kind of the second part of the show. I don't know how long we'll be, but I don't know if I'll go through the entire State of the Union address, but I'll just go through, probably get the highlights, go through it, and do some fact checking, give some feedback, basic recap of it all. I did this a couple years ago. Went really well. Hope you'll tune in for that. If you hadn't already, go ahead and subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can be notified when that goes out, because as of right now, like I said, I'm planning 9 a.m. Eastern time in the US Monday morning, but things happen. So definitely turn on the notifications so you can see that. Also, as a reminder, we have the full show every Friday morning that goes up, and then we cut that down into the individual segments that we release throughout the week called the Morning Nuggets. And so look for those. Those usually roll out around 9 o'clock every day on all the different, guys down here, all the different platforms that we're on. So I'll be doing that. And lastly, before we get into the kind of rundown of what we got going on today, I'm not a big fan of cuts in videos like this. So I pretty much go straight through it just like it's live, from front to back, start to finish, top to bottom, whatever. But if you can't tell, I've got a little redness going on here. I don't know if it's just allergies or what. Me and the wife are both sniffling and just, it ain't pretty. But I wanted to be here. I wanted to bring you the show. I don't want it to suffer. So you guys aren't seeing me into a, toilet paper, tissue, whatever. I'll probably have those jump cuts, where it's like, I'm right here 1 second, and then I'm over here the next second. I'm not a big fan of those. So be patient with me if I do those. I want to have a good presentation for you guys. So I may do that throughout the show a little bit just to spare you. Doesn't that make you kind of wonder too, like when we think of toilet paper or Kleenex and stuff, who looked at a tree and said, that's going to be the soft stuff I wipe my butt with? Not me. All right, guys, here's the rundown for today. So Jimmy Kimmel returns to the Oscars this upcoming Sunday. We'll definitely be covering that next week. Doritos gets woke and goes broke, or do they? Let's see. There's something wrong with Joe. We're going to do that segment again. Joe Biden can't do interviews without note cards or teleprompters. It's embarrassing, and it's very eye-opening for those of us that are paying attention. Also, SNL has a great follow-up to Shane Gillis, which is Sydney Sweeney, which upset certain audiences and got others really excited. But all that and more coming up. But first, this. All right, Super Tuesday was this past Tuesday. What a night. Not a great night for certain folks, a wonderful night for others. We're going to run through that real quick here, but just a quick Google pull up here. I'm looking over here on the right side of the rundown. So just looking at some Super Tuesday results here. Donald Trump, Nikki Haley from Vermont. So that was pointed out too. We've talked about this, I don't know, the last 2-3 weeks, whatever, that it seems like Nikki is just dominating the Democrats that are coming in and voting in the Republican primary where they're allowed to. In some of these places, they're not. So she's not doing as hot there. In Vermont, they were, and she beat him in Vermont. We'll keep going down for the Democrats in case you guys are wondering. Joe. So pretty clean sweep for Donald Trump and Joe Biden for the most part. But what you'll notice is Joe's winning all of them down here. What they won't point out to you is that right here at the Hill, Biden loses American Samoa Democratic caucuses. Yeah, he lost one. President Biden was projected to lose the Democratic caucus in American Samoa to an obscure candidate in a surprising result that comes amid a string of Super Tuesday wins. The race was called Tuesday night by Decision Desk HQ, who confirmed the results with the Democratic Party of America Samoa. Democrat Jason Palmer, an entrepreneur running a long shot bid against the incumbent, was projected to win the U.S. territory's Democratic race. Palmer has reportedly qualified for the presidential ballot. Oops, I hate when websites jump around like that. I'm not doing this, guys, I promise. The Hill, you suck. You suck. Democrat Jason Palmer, an entrepreneur, long shot, blah, blah, blah. Where are we at? Palmer has reportedly qualified for the presidential ballot in just 16 states and territories, according to a release from the campaign through PR Newswire. Palmer notably campaigned in the territory. Since American Samoa is a U.S. territory, it doesn't have electoral votes in the general election, but it can still send 11 delegates to Democrat National Convention later this year. See, there it goes again. Palmer and Biden have both each won 3. I'm going to get off of this page because it's aggravating me. So what's his name? Palmer. Jason Palmer. He's an entrepreneur. He ran against him and he won. And I want to say no one has, and I thought it was in here, there's never been a presidential incumbent to lose. I really thought that was in here. Maybe it jumped around and I missed it. Sorry, guys. But there's never been a presidential incumbent to lose in, a primary like that since I don't remember who. But when reached for comment about how he was able to beat the sitting president with the most votes of all time, the most popular president ever, this is what Mr. Palmer said.
He was a retard.
Indeed. So look, not a huge victory, granted, but still he's taking delegates away from Biden and he's sending a message. And I think ultimately that's what they were trying to do, right? Here's an example when Nikki won. She won in D.C. Less than 1,300 votes, not 1,300 more than Trump, just less than 1,300 votes in total, and her campaign and her, the mainstream media were running with it. Of course, anytime Trump loses, they're all about it. So don't let the mainstream media fool you and knock down this play. Mr. Palmer, you earned your win. You deserve your celebration. Good for you. I'm not voting for you. I wish you the best of luck against Biden, but this is a Trump 2024 guy right here. Just saying. MAGA baby. All right. So going a little bit further, Here's something we thought we'd never see, or I didn't know if we'd ever see it. Nikki Haley finally ends her presidential campaign with no regrets, ceding GOP nomination to Trump. She is an interesting individual, that's for sure. We'll go through a little bit of this if it doesn't bounce me around like that other site did and drove me nuts. Former South Carolina Governor Nikki Haley dropped out of 2024 presidential race Wednesday after losing every state but Vermont in Super Tuesday's primary contest, seeking the Republican nomination to former President Donald Trump. Haley's decision to end her campaign effectively kicks off the general election, with Trump and President Joe Biden taking unofficial command of their parties early in the primary season after a string of victories. I am filled with the gratitude of the outpouring of support we've received from all across our great country. But the time has now come to suspend my campaign. I'm sorry. Who supported her? The Democrats? Is she thanking the Democrats? There may be some Haley supporters out there watching this show, and thank you for tuning in. But are you really? This is probably Democrats supporting. I don't know who supported this woman. Sorry. So that's kind of got me stumbling over my words. Haley said in a speech Wednesday morning, "I said I wanted Americans to have their voices heard. I've done that. I have no regrets. And although I will no longer be a candidate, I will not stop using my voice for the things I believe in." Haley didn't announce an endorsement during her remarks Wednesday. Instead, she encouraged Trump, who is close to having the delegates needed to win the GOP nomination, to earn the support of the Republicans and independent voters who backed her. It is now up to Donald Trump to earn the votes of those in our party and beyond it who did not support him, and I hope he does that, she said. At its best, politics is about bringing people into your cause, not turning them away. And our conservative cause badly needs more people. This is now his time for choosing. Haley said that being a private citizen is privilege enough in itself, and that she looks forward to enjoying, in all likelihood, that Trump will be the Republican presidential nominee. I congratulate him and wish him well. I wish anyone well who would be America's president, she said. Our country is too precious to let our differences divide us. Look, couple things. One, like I said a minute ago, the only people supporting this woman are the Democrats and the establishment rhinos, right? The war hawks. Okay. She's gone after Trump non-stop. Let's bring you back up here. She's going after Trump non-stop. And now everything's all kosher. And that's the way politics are. Remember when Kamala went after Biden hard and heavy? And then she got like no support, no votes, terrible polling. But she's the VP for some reason. Haley's words mean nothing. Her endorsement means nothing, which she hasn't officially granted it yet, right? Look, she's a flip-flopper. She's an opportunist. She's a selfish, terrible person. Good riddance. And in case anyone was wondering, Mitch McConnell did endorse Donald Trump for president. Who cares? Who cares, right? The walking corpse that's finally stepping down at the age of 82 has finally endorsed Trump. I doubt anyone was losing sleep over that, but there you go. With that said, Trump still needs, 211 delegates, I think it is. Yeah, Trump still needs 211 delegates. He's not officially the candidate yet. So let's get rid of Brandon. Let's stay behind him. Let's keep pushing. Get out there and vote in your primaries if you haven't already. If you got primaries coming up, I know Georgia does. We've got it. This week is the last week of early voting, and then the primaries are next week. So get out there and vote if you hadn't already. And again, and I'm going to be fair. I don't care who you vote for. Okay, I'm not going to be one of those guys that, hey, Democrats vote on a different day. No. Vote for who you want. We are a very divided nation because we have a lot of different ideas about how this nation should run, what this nation should be about. I think getting away from, the Constitution's a terrible thing. And I disagree with a lot of what the Democrats want to do because I feel like that's getting away from it. But in all fairness, vote for who your heart tells you to vote for. But use your brain too, because I think a lot of times we do get people that vote based off of emotions, and usually emotions only instead of the facts, i.e. Trump. Next up, we're going to talk about Sydney Sweeney being on Saturday Night Live. She was the follow-up host on Saturday Night Live after they had Shane Gillis out the week before. If you didn't see anything from her, this is what you missed.
Thank you. Thank you very much. I am so happy to be here. My name is Sydney Sweeney. You might have seen me in Anyone But You or Euphoria. You definitely did not see me in Madam Web. But tonight, I'm excited for everyone to get to know the real me. I feel like people only see me as the girl on TV who screams, cries, and has sex. Sometimes it's all three at the same time.
Hey, can we buy you a car or something?
You guys are hilarious. See? Was that so hard? Oh.
No, it wasn't. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that hard. Look, Shane Gillis is a crowd favorite. They brought him on there. Sydney Sweeney is, here's what I know about Sydney Sweeney. First of all, I've never seen anything she's been in. Hadn't seen Euphoria, hadn't seen that romance comedy rom-com that she's been in. Definitely hadn't seen Madam Web. So I don't know anything about her. Here's what I do know. I know she's, she's an it girl right now. She's one of the it girls that keeps getting a lot of jobs. She's a very attractive girl, no doubt about it. Beautiful girl, great assets, that God-given great assets. And she knows that both of these are true, and she's leaning into them. You know what? And there's nothing wrong with that. You may dislike it, may not be your thing, but if you think of other actresses like Scarlett Johansson, they leaned into it. Scarlett, for example, like I say, she leaned into it early on in her career. You see articles now saying that, some things are over-sexualized and she wish she wouldn't have done that, or she doesn't want to do this. Look, a lot of these, and Scarlett Johansson's still smoking hot. I'm not saying that she's aged out of her, attractive roles by any means, but, it's like, oh, well, I don't want it just to be about that. And I get that. I think Sydney Sweeney, from what I've heard, especially from, I think, Euphoria, I think she's supposed to be like a really, really good actress, which is why she keeps getting the jobs. But her looks aren't going to hurt, for sure. But she leans into it, and a lot of people, that makes them uncomfortable. We're going to talk about in a little bit how this was a victory for us or something. But I do think that it's good to see that Saturday Night Live is giving fans more of what they're used to from back in the day, or what they want. Shane Gillis is a crowd favorite. Why not have him on? Sydney Sweeney's an it girl right now, and she's an attractive girl. Why not have her on? A lot of the skits, that one that we saw, not just the opening, but the one skit that we saw was the Hooters one, leaned a lot into her sexuality. But she didn't say no to it. She seems to be having fun with it. Look at all the outfits that she wears to all the red carpet events and everything. She definitely shows off her assets. She knows what she's got going for her. Look, Hollywood's a cutthroat business. You got to do what you got to do, right? Not a fan of the whole casting couch concept. But, people like to look at attractive people. No doubt about it. You go out there and watch a movie of superhero men even that are, out of shape. And I know ladies like Mark Ruffalo, but Mark Ruffalo's Mark Ruffalo. Then you compare him to a Chris Evans, a Chris Hemsworth, even Robert Downey Jr., one of the older guys on the crew. Phenomenal, looks great. All these guys are in tip-top, shape. There's like this weird double standard that women can't be sexualized or whatever, themselves. Here's how important it is to the audience to have something nice to look at. There's a show, or it used to be a show, called G4 TV. It was a gaming channel that was on TV, then it came back on the internet. And here's an example real quick. This right here is one of the hosts they brought on to G4 TV during their relaunch. She complained about the people in the chats not finding her attractive. She felt that was stupid. She mocked the fans and told them not to tune in to G4 TV. And then G4 TV was shut down within a year. I'm not saying that had anything to do with it, but this is what we saw before. This is Olivia Munn, a beautiful, fun, nerdy chick that appreciated her fan base. Like Sydney Sweeney and Scarlett, many others, she absolutely leaned into her appeal to her fan base, both on the nerd side and the fact that she's a smoking hot chick on a TV show. And granted, the audience is usually, or used to be back in the day, a bunch of nerds in our basements, not really, doing a whole lot. I didn't have a basement because I was poor, but you get the idea. All right, let's check out a couple of articles that talked about this. The Mary Sue, and no one is capable of having normal conversations about Sydney Sweeney. Let's see. Here she is. Spent over an hour scrolling through posts about Sydney Sweeney's SNL appearance on social media, and based on my findings, brainworms are a serious epidemic. Sydney Sweeney has 2 Emmy nominations under her belt and starring roles in a couple of recent commercial Hollywood releases, making her an extremely normal pig to host SNL over the weekend. Online, the conversations about Sweeney are anything but. Unsurprisingly, the majority of posts about her appearance on SNL have more to do with her physical appearance than with her performance. It's something that Sweeney herself would acknowledge, as she did in her SNL monologue and gamely laugh off to let you know she's in on the joke. The joke being that she is both conventionally attractive, i.e. hot, facts, and a professional actor. And because having large breasts requires acknowledging them so that everyone, mostly heterosexual men, that's me, can shut up and move on, except that a lot of people are not shutting up about it. While Sweeney was experimenting with sketch comedy, playing a Gen Z social media savant, a server at Hooters, and a version of herself who lust after Bo and Yang, she was being adopted by far-right conservatives and straight-up fascists as their new mascot. These people are stupid. On the health site formerly known as Twitter, conservatives are hailing Sweeney's SNL hosting gig as a return to normalcy and a sign that society is ready to once again embrace traditional values. Some are less subtle than others in equating Sweeney's whiteness with traditional beauty, but the posts are all uniformly repulsive. I'm sorry, I don't care what color she is. That's a beautiful girl. Again, I'm not one of these guys out there posting all about her and using her in my thumbnails all the time, making nonstop videos. I watched one the other day, had her in the thumbnail, didn't even mention her once, but eye candy made me want to click on it. It's like, what's going on with her? I've got an episode coming up, I'm talking about her. Maybe I need an update on her. Nope, didn't mention her at all. I'm not one of those guys. And again, I'm not going to ogle over her. I mean, she's an attractive girl, but Hollywood's filled with them, right? I got one in the other room. Gorgeous woman. I don't need to look at these other women, but I'm going to acknowledge that she's a good looking girl. Hey, those guys in the superhero movies, I mean, I don't even understand why we keep having, sexiest man alive, as long as Matthew McConaughey, Ryan Reynolds, and, I can't think of the guy. Now I sound like a racist. It's like Shamar Moore. Is that his name? He was on the soap operas, and he was like on NCIS or CSI. God, I'm going to look like such a racist because I don't remember the black guy's name. Yeah, Shamar Moore. I know his name. I know what I'm doing. Yeah. Not a racist. Not a racist. That's racist! No, it's not. I remembered his name. So, yeah, as long as those 3 guys, Ryan Reynolds, Matthew McConaughey, and Shamar Moore, as long as those guys are alive, I don't even understand why we keep juggling that to, sexiest man alive to other guys. I can acknowledge when there's an attractive guy. No problem. Beautiful women. I'm not going to waste my time on it. But these people right here are just so butthurt that somebody finds them attractive. Usually the people writing this kind of stuff are either, gay or ugly, or and I say ugly being that traditionally ugly. That may still be a terrible way to say it. I don't know the right way to say it, but someone who's jealous and they're going to play bully, and not bully to Sydney directly, because that would be wrong. They're going to bully the fans, the people that enjoyed watching her. I'll also say a couple things about this part right here. The far right, conservative, straight up fascist, all that is just gobbledygook talk from the left. It means nothing. It's word salad. You're going to hear that in some other talks about, boycotts of this and that and everything. It's just whatever to get you riled up. Don't listen to these people. They're effing idiots. All right. And then the return to normalcy by having Sweeney on, I hinted toward them giving the audience what they want. I have zero faith that they're going to do that going forward. I just think because she's an it girl right now and she's got some movies coming out and stuff, that's why she was pulled in. The return to normalcy is probably, for a lot of people in that regards, the fact that they're bringing on beautiful people. I don't know. I don't know who's saying that this is a return to normalcy. I think they're trying to bring people back that people want to see. Maybe. I'd watch a show with her on it. I'd watch a show with Shane Gillis on it. But, you know, a lot of these other people they bring on have no fan base. It's just their special guest or their host for them and their modern audience. Maybe that's where we're getting it from. I don't know. Moving on, when one verified user, self-proclaimed journalist, whose recent content consists of Michael Jackson, I don't know that word, and an appearance on Alex Jones's show, posted that Sweeney's SNL episode has some of the most views in recent history. Sure, but citations needed. That's not actually, I don't know about recent history. I did look that up real quick. It definitely hasn't had the most views. In the recent future, I don't believe. Moving on, the conservatives weaponize this non-news as proof that what real American people want is hot white ladies with big honkers, not fat women, transgender, or circus freaks. Yeah. I mean, yeah, hot white ladies with big honkers. It's a lot easier to look at them for whatever it is, 30 minutes an hour, whatever SNL is anymore, than it is to see somebody parading around as a fat transgender circus freak, for sure. And I say that to say this, is that oftentimes, whether it's in movies or Saturday Night Live or whatever, when there is a fat transgender circus freak, they are used as the fat transgender circus freak. You know, kind of like Sydney Sweeney was used as the hot white lady with big honkers. You know, they're used for that. They have no more substance than that. And maybe Sydney Sweeney don't. I don't know. Like I said, I've heard she was a good actress. I don't know. So yeah, when they parade down your pronouns and your, you know, appearance and everything like that on one end, but not the other. But I think you get the idea. My nose is going to be redder and redder as the show goes on. Let's see if there's anything else to go through. I don't think there's anything else in this one that we need to read. We'll move on to this other article here. This is from Indy 100, Sexualized Sydney Sweeney SNL promos, prompt concern from fans. And I disagree with that. I don't think fans are the problem. I think it's maybe Saturday Night Live fans, which are completely different than like Sydney Sweeney fans or Shane Gillis fans. I can tell you that for sure. Saturday Night Live fans are not the same as Shane Gillis fans and vice versa. But we'll look at this for just a second here. And I think there's some tweets. So Sydney Sweeney's first time hosting Saturday Night Live. Of course, you're going to pop up on me. Saturday Night Live is already facing backlash from fans due to the promo ads for the episode focusing solely on her desirability. Well, that's because the promos properly promoted what she was going to be doing in the show. A lot of the sketches were around that, so it's fitting. The 26-year-old Euphoria star will host the show for the first time on March 2nd, but eyebrows have been raised about after two promos featuring the actor saw fans worry that the jokes will be misogynistic and sexualized. They were. The first scenes sees Sweeney bump into SNL cast member Michael Longfellow backstage. I don't even know who SNL has on there anymore. I don't even care. Here's some tweets, though. And again, I'm on Twitter. You can find me. You can interact with me. But I'm still learning it because I'm old school. I know Facebook. I had a MySpace back in the day. Yeah. So bear with me. So I'm thinking this post is done first. And then this person responded to this. Y'all think I'm such an idiot right now if you hadn't already. Bear with me and be patient with me and help me. All right, so let's see. So they said Saturday Night Live, Sydney Sweeney hosts and music from Kate with music from Casey Musgraves. There's a little promo video there. I'm not going to play it. Hussein here says, challenge for SNL writers, have Sydney tell jokes that aren't just about her being hot and speak to her other qualities as an actor in person. Come on, guys. Well, clearly this guy thinks she's hot, so whatever. Same thing. It's crucial to showcase Sydney's full range of talents beyond just her appearance by focusing solely on her looks. We're missing out on the depth and diversity she brings to the table. SNL has a wealth of comedic potential to draw from Sydney's acting chops. Man, I hope I remember the thing I'm thinking of right now because I've got a really good comeback to some of these. A lot of my fans are men, said Sydney Sweeney. That's so sad. Why? Why is that sad? And I think that's hers. I remember her saying how icky it was for her growing up with big boobs and being sexualized for it, and yet people still continue to sexualize her like no tomorrow. Well, yes, she's making a living doing that, to be fair, right? Do I feel like she's a victim? No. Does she appear to be leaning into it? Absolutely. I'm not going to go over, like I said, and ogle over her or anything like that. But I will say this to, which one was it? This one. Oh, so what's weird is hearing people, and I'll get this garbage off the screen. What's hearing people, and I'm going to say on the left, because it usually is on the left. And, you know, if it's the far right or fascists or whatever they want to call us that are appreciating this, it's going to be the liberal, socialist, Nazi, communist, whatever, left that just can't take a joke, doesn't like to have fun, wants everybody being as miserable as they are. This is their problem. They want to celebrate what they were talking about earlier, fat, transgender, circus freaks, whatever. They want to celebrate that, but they don't want to celebrate what's been normal, respected, appreciated for years. Now, I will say I hadn't seen Madam Web, but I've seen promos for it. And in one of them, it was Sydney talking about being in her costume, which from my understanding, that's only like a brief flashback or something. So it's really disappointing that you have a superhero costume or a superhero movie and nobody's in a superhero costume. I don't know. But she's like doing her arm like this and pointing and doing all that. And she's like toned. She's like really, really in shape. You know, God may have gifted her, you know, certain assets that she gets to take advantage of, but that girl takes care of herself. So there's nothing wrong with celebrating someone who takes care of themselves inside and out, someone who is beautiful and attractive. I mean, we as a society have always done that and will always do that. And you seem to have a problem with it when we celebrate beauty and someone who works hard on themselves, going to the gym, eating right, taking care of themselves. But you want to celebrate those that, you know, the body positivity movement, people that just are obese, out of shape. I mean, I'm overweight and out of shape, right? You know, we want to celebrate people that look, you know, the female version of this, or maybe this if I'm trans, I don't know. But we can't celebrate that. Come on, guys. You guys aren't playing fair. You're not even playing by your own rules. You know, I don't know what their ratio is for writers on Saturday Night Live, male to female. I hadn't watched in years, but I will say that some of the skits, some of the jokes, it reminded me of this one particular setup in Weekend Update with arguably one of the greatest comedic actors to ever be on Saturday Night Live, one of my favorite comedians of all time. I'm going to turn over to him to tell you the joke. One of my favorites. Take it away, Norm.
Who are safer drivers, men or women? Well, according to a new survey, 55% of adults feel that women are most responsible for minor fender benders, while 78% blame men for most fatal crashes. Please note that the percentages in these pie graphs do not add up to 100% because the math was done by a woman. For those of you hissing at that joke, it should be noted that that joke was written by a woman. So now you don't know what the hell to do, do you? No, I'm just kidding. We don't hire women.
He's the best, man. Norm was the best. I hate he's gone. I think he's one of the best for sure. But hey, that does it for that segment, guys. You know who else is the best? Coffee Brand Coffee. Coffee Brand Coffee is for people who are sick of all the gimmicky companies who offer marketing in place of truly great fresh roasted coffee. We're even going to talk about one of those brands who tried to, you know, get woke and push their agenda out there and stuff. Coffee Brand Coffee doesn't do any of that. They're not pushing anything left or right. The fulfillment and roasting facilities are located right here in the United States. Each purchase is hand roasted to order. That means they wait until they receive your order before they fire up the roasters. Lastly, it's delicious. I got mine right here. It will probably be the last time you see it on my desk because I'm out in the kitchen. So this is going to migrate in there. I'll probably have to order some more, but I'm fisting to down these awesome flavors that they've got in here. Look, for the best coffee, tea, and cocoa, visit coffeebrandcoffee.com today and use promo code MAYHEM right here to get you a 10% off your entire purchase. And that 10% off goes a long way. It's going to help you out. It's going to help the channel out, and I appreciate that. Go check them out today. All right. Next up is a segment that we've done before. I think, yeah, we've done it before. Yeah, we're back at it. This segment is called Get Woke, go broke.
Woke.
Woke.
Everything woke turns to okay?
All right, this article right here is from New Republic, or The New Republic, excuse me. It says down here, MAGA is now losing its mind over a Doritos boycott because, of course. So I'm not even going to really get into this article that deep, but I love how they always try to associate boycotts against wokeness. And again, I'll use that term so loosely because it's lost some of its original meaning of woke, and we can have a conversation about that at some other point. But, you know, these companies that are pushing the agendas, let me just say that, pushing social justice agendas and trying to virtue signal and just really force you to agree with them, however you want to word it. Woke is just easier, so we'll go with that. But it's funny that they always equate these to MAGA supporters, conservatives, extreme right-wingers, and all this and that. You know, I know Jeremy over at the Quartering, he's not a conservative. If you listen to him, he sounds like one. I think he is one, he just doesn't know it yet. But there's a lot of people out there that don't align themselves with the left or the right, but they are tired of trans stuff being pushed on us, you know, very explicit books being pushed in schools, drag queen story hour, all this and that. It's not just right wing, MAGA, whatever. It's just normal people. It's just normal people. And what's hurting the left and the Democrats and the marketing people behind this is they don't realize that. They think they're losing a part of their audience or voter base or whatever that they don't need, that they don't want. They're pushing a lot of moderate people away. But this has a redemption arc. We'll get into it. We'll cover that in just a second. Let's go back. Sorry. MAGA is now losing its mind, yada, yada, whatever these people. All right. For conservatives, it can be difficult to keeping up with the latest outrages. Yesterday, it was Chick-fil-A and Target. Today, the cultural criminal du jour is tortilla chip brand Doritos. Yes, right-wingers are angry about nacho chips, thanks to the chip brand's Spain division partnership with transgender activist and singer Samantha Hudson, a native of the European country. Many of the right are calling for a boycott of Doritos, similar to the one of Bud Light, which worked, by the way, which became a target of conservatives and transphobes. It's not a thing. Last year, after hiring transgender activist Dylan Mulvaney as a brand ambassador. Let's see, how far do we want to go here? Notable right-wing accounts such as In Wokeness, not familiar with that one. And then Libs of TikTok. Awesome video the other day of Libs of TikTok and that old reporter that tries to act young that always plays the victim, doing an interview with each other. It was great. Shia just absolutely killed it. Have gotten in on the action, claiming that Hudson has tweeted about abusing minors and has made pro-pedo statements. Hudson claimed in 2023 interview that he himself, has been sexually abused. If that doesn't tell you something right there in that statement, look, again, I've been on here and I've been very, very clear. I got lesbian and gay. I said lay. Gay and lesbian mixed together. That would be straight, I guess, right? But lesbian, gay, and bisexual friends. I've got all of them up and down the gamut. I've got no problem with it at all. You do what you do or who you do or whatever. But the whole trans thing, you start losing me, and you start losing a lot of the other LGB folks that are in that community as well. Not everyone gets behind the T and all the other alphabet letters that come behind that as well. But this ought to tell you something right here, that this person is trans and was sexually abused. This is a mental illness. This is something that comes or stems from something that happened in their past, potentially. It's also a popular thing right now. I said this last week, that a lot of people are giving into that trend that this is the cool thing to do. And that's why you're seeing the numbers go through the roof. But more on this later. But it is absolutely... This is a mental illness. This is a mental thing that we should be taking care of and not just accepting and pushing on society. Sorry. Whether it's Doritos, Frosted Flakes, Bud Light, or any number of businesses that decide to honor diversity and LGBTQ plus community, see, they always try to Oh, I can't stand the way they write these articles. The far right is running out of things to eat and places to shop these days, and even trying to start its own economy with questionable results. Hudson and Doritos Spain have not responded to the attacks. Yeah, they have. Let's keep going. From Newsweek, Doritos faces backlash for transgender ambassador's tweet about 12-year-old. And I'm going to this one just because they didn't say anything about the actual tweet. They just kind of mentioned it in passing like it wasn't a big deal. It's a big deal. Doritos Spain faces backlash on Monday as news of the company announcing transgender artist Samantha Hudson as a brand ambassador. Spain sparked outrage over Hudson's previous tweets involving a 12-year-old. Over the past several years, there's been ongoing controversy surrounding the inclusion of the transgender community in brand campaign messaging and or products, as conservatives, not just conservatives again, continue to call for boycotts. In April 2023, Bud Light became one of the first brands to face national attention and garner massive calls for the conservatives to boycott the company amid its brief promotion involving a collaboration with transgender TikTok star Dylan Mulvaney. Over the weekend, Doritos Spain, which falls under PepsiCo, Spain's branch of products, announced Hudson as a brand ambassador for the products, including him in a 50-second promo called Crunch Talks. I'm just going to go ahead and correct the pronouns here. It gets confusing. Hudson is a transgender artist from Spain who gained recognition through his social media presence on his YouTube channel, where he shares fashion, beauty, travel, and lifestyle tips. However, on Monday, news of Hudson as brand ambassador sparked controversy as Hudson's previous tweets resurfaced, triggering a call for a boycott. Some have taken to X, formerly Twitter, to resurface the tweets that accuse Hudson of being a pedo. For some tweets that he published in 2015 regarding a 12-year-old, which he tweeted, according to him, to be funny. The post, translated from Spanish and is graphic, begins by saying, and again, I'm going to read it because I think it's important. I've learned multiple things from Steven Crowder with Louder with Crowder, to be fair, but this is great. Can't pull the punches. When it is just off the rails, you just got to go with it. You have to push that perversion out there to the people so they know how far it goes, how deep it is, how terrible these books are that are in the schools. You can't just say, oh, they promote this or that. Read it. Read excerpts from it. Talk about the pictures that are in there. People really need to know because they don't understand because it's downplayed so much from idiots like this. So, trigger warning for anybody who's super soft or just doesn't want to hear stuff like this. I get it, but listen. I want to do thuggish things to a 12-year-old girl. Before providing an example of an extreme sexual crime against a child, Hudson, now 24, was said to have been aged 15 when the tweet was posted online. He tweeted, according to him, to be funny. In another post, Hudson allegedly said, in the middle of the street in Mallorca, in panties and screaming, that I'm a nymphomaniac in front of a super beautiful 8-year-old. And this is who you pick for your brand ambassador. In addition, some have resurfaced other tweets of Hudson's accusing him of hating women who have been victims of sexual abuse, even though he himself was abused, right? In another translated post on X, Hudson writes, I hate women who are victims of rape and who turn to self-help centers to overcome their trauma. K-fat whore, I'm guessing. Ex-user in wokeness slammed Doritos for their choice for ambassador and accused Hudson of being a pedo, writing, Doritos just picked Samantha Hudson as their brand ambassador in Spain. Samantha Hudson admitted to being a pedo, identifies as non-binary trans girl, openly mocked victims of child rape, an advocate for annihilating, completely destroying, and abolishing the traditional family. So we'll move on to this next one because, like I said, there is a redemption arc here, if you will. And that is from the Daily Mail right here. Doritos fires trans activist 2 days after bringing her in as a brand ambassador after being alerted to sick tweets about doing depraved things to a 12-year-old. Way to go, Doritos. Good on you guys. Good on you guys. You know, it's about time these brands kind of figure this out. Like, listen to your audience. It took them 2 days. Imagine if Bud Light would have done this, right? So a little bit in this article, we'll go through it. Doritos has fired transgender activists who appeared in one of its promotional videos after being alerted to sickening old tweets, including one where he wrote about doing depraved things to a 12-year-old. Samantha Hudson, 24, appeared in a new partnership with Doritos Spain through a 50-second video called Crunch Talks that has now been deleted from the brand's Instagram. Good job. Doritos told Rolling Stone on Tuesday it would no longer work with Hudson, saying it had been unaware of his previous inappropriate post. I'm not going to keep going through all this. I want to say a couple things. When you start dealing with people that are in the trans community, again, not all of them are just wacko out there people, but a good portion of them are. I think you can even go, Blair White's a great example, and I know we often on the right use Blair White, but Blair White is a trans and very level-headed trans. Will tell you that this is a mental illness. This is gender dysphoria or whatever, and admit that I would imagine Blair would agree that a lot of the people that suffered from that should not be making, rash decisions about life or being, glorified and brand ambassadors, because there's usually so much more baggage that comes with it besides just the fact that they're, checking a box on a, virtue signaling checklist. Oh man, we got the trans and we got the female and we got the, person of color over here. And we got, they're all about all that diversity, inclusion, equity, DI, whatever it's called. So when you get that, you get all the baggage. And there was a lot of baggage with this singer, whatever, Samantha Hudson. So look, if you look at these people that are confused about their gender, they're usually not well otherwise. I won't even get into the last several mass shooters that we've had that aren't getting the same coverage as the other ones. But again, I won't go there. This is a mental illness. We're not supposed to call it that. We're not supposed to point out the ridiculousness of it. And we're not supposed to allow them to push this ideology on our children. Or we are supposed to allow them. And if we get in the way, then we're the transphobes or the bigots or whatever, right? There's more people that are sick and tired of this crap than there are that support it. Not only is the trans stuff being pushed 24/7, but lately they've been trying to push the pedo stuff out there. We've seen videos of that recently flowing around, right? Good on Doritos for recognizing this potentially huge loss they were facing. I know this was Doritos Spain, but still, they were facing a huge potential loss here. And good for those crazy MAGA Republicans, as they call them, for standing up for their values. This is how we do it, folks. I love it. Way to go. Next segment, there's something wrong with Joe.
What are you doing?
There's something wrong with Joe.
What can I say? He provides great material to work off of. The left loves to work off of Trump. It's even easier to work off of Biden, I think. But look, hey, if you're just joining us, I will say real quick, if you see the redness going on here or any crazy quick cuts, I don't like the cuts or anything like that I mentioned earlier. Allergies or something is going on, but I'm here for you guys. So if you see me in and out, that's what's going on. And if you've been watching up to this far, I don't think I've had to do that very many times. Thankfully, I've been trying to keep it under control, and I appreciate you guys sticking with me this far. But we'll get into this because there's absolutely something wrong with Joe. There's a lot wrong with Joe, to be fair, right? But I hope this is not one of those articles that's going to bounce around on me, but this is Variety. President Biden's late night appearance indicates the tough road ahead. There was something perhaps apt about Joe Biden's appearance on Late Night with Seth Meyers. Monday night being pegged to the show's 10th anniversary as vice president in 2014, Biden had appeared on the show's first broadcast, and now he marked the passage of a decade. It was a booking that made sense, but that also called attention to Biden's most crucial liability in 2024, the fact that time has passed. Questions about Biden's age and acuity have intensified in recent months, even as the man himself pointed out on Meyers' couch. His likely opponent in the November election, Donald Trump, is of comparable age, appearing for an interview with Meyers after a presidency defined, especially in recent months, by press-shy approach, Biden was stronger on questions of politics than on television entertainment. That's always been true, certainly in contrast to his two immediate predecessors. Biden has long lacked the ability to bend the medium of TV to his ends. In a first segment in which he was flanked by Myers and by Amy Poehler, Biden called to mind the 2010 episode of Saturday Night Live in which host Betty White was supported by an all-star team of guests who did the real comic heavy lifting. He made the game attempts to riff on the so-called Dark Brandon persona constructed for him online, but appeared ill at ease. Hypothetical comparisons don't flatter President Biden. In a comparable setting, Obama might have caught the joke, lobbed it back, and then pivoted into whatever he was there to discuss. And Trump, by this point in his term, would never have been invited on the late night. This is true. Specifically, but certainly did not struggle in making whatever news program had given him a platform into a blistering and strange referendum on whatever topic he chose. Hey, it is what it is. Here, Myers and Poehler were handing the president a gift of sorts, the opportunity to play into a long-running joke that is amiable and aloof personality conceals a mastermind. He seemed a beat behind in catching the joke each time and missed the opportunity to use it to say anything more substantive. What is Dark Brandon's agenda, his master plan? That joke remained untold. A second segment after Poehler left the stage placed the president in firmer footing, though even his most ardent defenders may need to come to terms with the fact that certain of his long-held rhetorical traits like trailing off and stopping himself when he spoke angrily about Trump, as he did twice, can read now as his having lost a step, and his penchant for misstatements as when he referred to his plan for the rest of this year as the 2020 agenda remains an Achilles heel. It's a long article. I'm going to go ahead and stop. Let's go ahead and look at some of the video. I'm not going to play the whole thing. The links are going to be in the description below, but I did want to pull it up on YouTube instead of clipping it because I want to kind of go through it and narrate certain parts of it. There's two videos, like it was mentioning, one with Amy Poehler being there, one after she leaves, and we'll just kind of skip around through it and give some feedback on it. So let's get the first one fired up. Let's start about right here. Shocked that he's in public. Look at him. He's going toward the drummer. Who walks in and goes to the drummer while they're actively playing a song? Should I sit down? No one told me. All right, yeah. So who goes over to the drummer and says, "Hey, I want to go hang out over here and talk to you and see what's going on while you're in the middle of playing a song"? That's not normal, right? He walked in and immediately didn't know where to walk. I guarantee it. Somebody had to steer him in the right direction. He finally made it over to Seth. He made it over to Amy. He's like, "I think I've seen you before." And, he's, do I sit down? I don't know what to do. I don't have my cue cards in front of me. It says, you sit, you walk in, you speak to. Y'all know what I'm talking about. If you don't, go look it up. He has to have cue cards to tell him literally everything to do. Not surprised if you had a reverse camera shot here. You can see cue cards and his team just surrounding the place, making sure he knew where to look, what to say, what to do, and everything like that. And the guy just looks super frail, super duper frail. Let's jump ahead here to about there.
Ask about that, but there's something that I've been it just speaks to the era we live in now. There's a Dark Brandon conspiracy meme. And this is something that you seem to have a lot of fun with. You've co-opted Dark Brandon. This is a yard sign. And do you enjoy playing around with the Dark Brand meme?
No, I resent the hell out of it.
Okay.
Oh, you stood over there. Let me touch you.
Now,
all right, look, this is obviously something that was planned and strategically done, make him look cool or, you know, whatever. I don't know. He's putting on the glass. You saw him pulling out the glasses before he even got to the question. This was all staged. He knew what he was doing. It's just like Bill Clinton back in the day playing the saxophone. It's an attempt to humanize him and make him more appealing to the audience and make him seem cool. These people that do these shows, whether it's late night or it's the mainstream media, you know, CBS, NBC, these people are not unbiased. They are absolutely pushing for this guy to be the president again. God only knows why. All I can say is they hate Trump that bad that they're going to act like they don't see what's going on with him. But we'll continue. There's a couple more on here. I think 2 more we're going to look at, and then we'll go to the other video. Let's go. Let's keep going from here.
My favorite one recently is there are 18% of Americans, according to recent polling, have believe that you and Taylor Swift are actually working in cahoots. And after the Kansas City Chiefs won the Super Bowl, you posted this on social media and you wrote, just like we drew it up. Now, I have you on the hot spot here. Can you confirm or deny that there is an active conspiracy between you and Miss Swift?
Where are you getting this information?
I feel like there's something going on with him wearing the glasses, not just a cool thing. Maybe you're supposed to put them on and then take them off. He forgot to take them off. Maybe he's blocking, you know, that he's looking at somebody and they don't want his eyes to wander too much or something like that. The glasses still being on bothers me. Something's going on with that. But yeah, he didn't post that to his social media. And I know you'll say no president posts. Trump posted to his social media directly all the time. Trump was one of the most personable presidents, as in, like, he reached out to the people. He spoke to the people. He didn't care about the news networks. He wasn't going to wait for them to interview him. He went straight to the people through social media more than any other president ever has. Of course, technology has allowed that to be the thing. But these guys, I mean, this guy doesn't know what's going on. He doesn't know anything about social media. The only social bone this guy's got in his body is for underage girls. All right, the last one on here, and we'll move to the next video.
Floor is actually the top of the earth.
He's leaving. He's gonna go. I told you to stop telling people that.
He doesn't know what's going on.
So if that's wrong, don't spoil it for me.
All right, so Parks and Rec was about optimism.
Look, he doesn't know what's going on. I truly believe he was about to walk away. It wasn't part of the joke. The attention went to Amy for just a second. She got one question, I think, after he got there. And he's like, "Oh, my time's up," and he got up to walk away. And I think they literally were trying to stop him and pull him back. And his team's over there on the side going, "No, sit down," because you can even see, like, the awkwardness when he sat back down. He's like, "Am I still supposed to be here?" He doesn't have a clue where he's at, what he's doing. Seth and Amy are trying to do everything they can to cover up this poor guy. Man, I feel bad for him. I honestly do. Let's look at this one.
Welcome back to Late Night. We're here with President Joe Biden. You mentioned some classified materials, some documents recently leaked, some classified documents. And this isn't a gotcha show, but I do want to ask about it, that says you are currently 81 years old.
Who the hell told you that?
Yeah.
That's classified.
That's classified. All jokes aside, according to recent polling, this is a real concern for American voters. How do you address that concern going forward as you come up to the 2024 election?
Well, a couple things. Number one, you got to take a look at the other guy. He's about as old as I am, but he can't remember his wife's name.
Yeah.
And,
Okay. 2 things there. One, you can't justify that you're an old man by pointing at somebody else and saying, "Well, they're old too." No. Trump is almost as old as Biden as far as actual age goes. As far as appearance and cognitive abilities there, they are decades apart. Biden is long gone, but the left is going to keep pushing that he's gone. Like with this lie right here. This is a lie. Trump didn't forget his wife's name. Joe Biden forgot his wife's name. He got his wife and his sister confused. I think he got the 2 of them confused or something like that. You know, when he was running for president. So this was 4 years ago almost, right? Or maybe it was 4 years ago. He got his wife and his sister confused and blamed them. Like, "Oh, you guys swap sides." I mean, no, he got them confused. This guy doesn't know what he's talking about. What he is referencing as far as Trump goes, and this was Mike Obama. As far Don't do it. What he's referencing is Trump was at a rally. It was a CPAC or whatever. And he was talking about how the people loved Melania. He said his wife. He didn't say Melania's name. He says, they love the first lady. And then everybody stood, standing ovation. He looks out in the crowd. He sees the two people, the couple that's running the CPAC, right? And he's like, check it out. See how they respond to the first lady, right? And he acknowledges the woman whose name is Mercedes Schlapp. He acknowledges her by her name. He looks around and goes, hey, Mercedes. He wasn't calling Melania Mercedes. Trust me. First of all, Donald Trump knows what a Mercedes is. He probably knows who Mercedes is pretty good. And he definitely knows who Melania is. Most all of us really, really know who Melania is. You know what I'm saying? That's not somebody you forget. Moving on. Sorry about that, Mr. Trump. Moving on. Let's next section here.
And I really mean this sincerely. I think it's about the future, and every single thing we've done. I think we've got some good things done. Everything, and they told us we couldn't get them done because things were so divided. And but I think everything we've gotten done, he's just frontally stated he wants to do away with if he gets elected. And I really think his views on where to take America are older than. Anyway, I don't want to get going.
That man has no idea what he's talking about. Not one thing was said. Not one thing was said there. We did some things. We got some things done. They didn't think we can get some things done, but we got some things done. He has no idea. He's sounding like Kamala Harris right there with all the word salads that she does and everything. He has no freaking clue. This guy can't stay on task to save his life. Jeez. All right. Just a few more and we'll move on with this segment. Sorry, but I got to point all this out. This is stupid.
Because I feel like we live in such crazy times that is one of the things I feel we hear less about.
Look, the 2020 agenda is to finish the...
Flip it and reverse it. He asked him what the 2024 agenda was. Let me back up a little bit so you can hear him ask that.
Look, the 2020 agenda is...
Not far enough.
We live in such crazy times that is one of the things I
Still
feel...
not far enough. Let's get right here.
We even got an immigration bill that passed in the Senate but never got taken up in the House. And
it's stupid.
What would you want to do? What's your 2024 agenda? Because I feel like we live in such crazy times that is one of the things I feel we hear less about.
Look, the 2020 agenda is to finish...
This dude has no idea what year it is. And I'm not saying that like that's a slip. He genuinely has no idea. He still tells people he's running for the Senate. Not as a joke. He has no idea what year it is. He has no idea what's going on. And people want to vote for this dude. Next one.
It's the job. For example, we're now in a position where we have the strongest economy of any major nation in the world, number one. We got a way to go yet. Inflation is down, 880,000 manufacturing jobs.
False.
You know, we have 14 million new jobs.
False.
The unemployment rate is the lowest it's been for the longest time.
Questionable.
We're building wealth for people. But we have to do more. First thing I have to do is stop it from being...
Yeah, we do have to do more. And we got to start telling the truth. This administration is absolutely loving the idea that COVID happened because they are taking credit for jobs that returned after COVID as new jobs created. They're overinflating the numbers, kind of like our inflation is right now. And he's underinflating inflation. I mean, yes, when you look at the whole scope of inflation per like income or wealth or whatever metric that they use for that, it looks like it's better. But when you ask most Americans, normal people's wages are not going up at the rate that some of the, higher end folks are, right? But eggs cost the same, bacon costs the same, toilet paper costs the same for us and them. It's significantly more of a percentage of our overall income or savings or whatever than it is theirs. It's not impacting everybody the same. And I will tell you, the economy, inflation is not as good as what he's claiming or his entire administration. They are lying to you. This is what they do. They lie to you more and more, especially as it's getting to an election. And I want to point this out too, and I meant to point this out earlier because it was a better shot of it, but if you look right here, one thing that I noticed early on is he's wearing a pin that's got the American flag and the Ukraine flag. I can't see it super duper close. It almost looks like the Ukraine flag is in front of the American flag the way it is. I could be wrong there. Again, I could be wrong. I'm not going to say that definitively. But whether it's a Republican or a Democrat, I think it is absolutely disgraceful for the President of the United States of America to wear a pin of a foreign flag, either alone or along with the American flag. Like, who are you the president of? Why are you? I wouldn't dig it if Trump did it. I don't dig it with him doing it. Just pointing that out there. Not even going to get into conspiracy theories, as we call it, reality, of why so many politicians are all about Ukraine and protecting them and protecting a lot of the information that they have over there. How many sons and daughters and nieces and nephews and folks that were related to politicians had corrupt jobs in Ukraine that were used for money laundering and funneling of power and stuff. I'm not going there in this one, but let that sit. All right, a little bit more. Where we at? 20.
You can't get aid for Ukraine passed.
Speaking of
and
Ukraine.
it seemed like for a long time, the American people agreed that Russia was the threat. And all of a sudden now you see a Republican Party that is basically refusing to aid Ukraine in their fight against. Seems like Donald Trump is saying Russia can do whatever they want to NATO countries. Are you shocked?
That's what he is saying. He's been saying it all along. He's been saying it when he ran the last time. Look.
To that point, he was saying it when he ran last time. Kinda. Here's the thing. They keep talking about what he said that he did last time. He made the NATO members pay their fair share. He's saying, why am I going to send American tax dollars to your country, soldiers, American lives to your country to protect you when you're not even doing the bare minimum of paying your fair share? Trump said that he told them that when he went to NATO and he went to the folks that were part of that. And they said, well, what are you going to do if someone invades us? He goes, well, I'm going to let them. If you're not paying your fair share, you're not, coming to the table equally, but you want us to give everything. It's not going to happen. I'll even encourage them to, attack you or whatever. I don't care. That's what he said then to get them to pay up. It's different than them cheering on Russia right now to attack Ukraine. That's not the same thing, but that's what they keep using because they are dishonest and they will lie to you and they will all get on board with that. Just like with the Melania Mercedes thing. It was funny because I was trying to look up Mercedes' name for the show. And when I type in Melania, I think I typed in Trump, Mercedes, PAC or something like that, all the first results pull up are the already debunked, but they're still there, CNN, MSNBC, NBC, CBS, all these guys saying that he messed up Melania's name. They control the narrative. They control the media. They control, Google and YouTube and Facebook and Twitter. Well, maybe not Twitter anymore, but they control so much. So they control they control the media, the information, and the flow of that information. They have so much power, and they're all behind this guy and trying to keep Trump out. And for those of you that are fence sitters or not quite sure how you're going to vote, ask yourself why the establishment is so heavy-handed in doing everything they can to keep Trump from being reelected. They did everything they could get him to avoid him getting elected in the first place, talking about impeachment before he was ever even elected. And then they did it twice off some BS charges, right? And ask yourself why. All right, here's a little bit more. We got, I think, two or three more stops, and we'll be done.
He talked about how he wants to be a dictator on day one, but only day one. You are someone who has dealt with dictators over the years. It does seem as though democracy, in vague terms somehow, is not easy for us to grasp. Having dealt with dictators, what do you see in a world where democracy is actually at risk in a way it might be in this election?
The first thing dictators do, is they disregard whatever the rule of the law is. They just disregard it. Here's the guy who says he thinks he can change the Constitution and ignore it. Just ignore portions of the Constitution. Here's the guy who talks about retribution. Here's the guy, look.
All right, retribution. We'll go backwards on this. Retribution. They're worried that Trump's going to go in and arrest his political opponents and go after them. What are they doing right now? You got journalists that weren't even at January 6th getting jailed. You got people that were at January 6th that were peaceful protesters. Maybe they stepped onto grounds they weren't supposed to, but they didn't hurt anybody. And they're spending years in jail. Some of them are still in jail right now and hadn't had a trial. In this country, you're supposed to be innocent until proven guilty, right? But that's not what they're doing. And they are going after their political opponents. Was 91 indictments or something like that against Trump? I mean, they are going hard and heavy after their political opponents. But they're going to project, like they do on a lot. I'm going to put a segment together about all that projection and stuff. They're projecting that and saying that Trump's going to do it. Well, they're already doing it. Number one, there's that. Number two, Trump doesn't want to really be a dictator. He said that just to kind of stir the pot, right? But if we're going to talk about being a dictator, Biden signed 42 executive orders in his first 100 days, which is more than any other president since Harry Truman. So if we're talking about, not going through Congress or getting around Declaration of Independence or constitutions or, like I said, the House or Senate or whoever, we're going to do everything we can to avoid democracy, as they say. Well, an easy way to just, be heavy-handed with that executive order. 42 executive orders in the first 100 days. Many of those were in the first day or two. We already know that from, the pipelines, the oil reserves, and all this and that he had a hand in, which, according to them, has nothing to do with the rise in fuel costs, but we're not stupid. We know. Let's go back to this one, because he's fixing to get into one that's been debunked so many times, and he's still running with it, and people believe it.
Guy talks about retribution. Here's the guy. Look, you have the guys, the thousands of people who stormed the Capitol. They're insurrectionists. 2 cops died. Other people were badly hurt. And what did he say?
BS. Do you have people that stormed the Capitol? Yes. And people on the right, conservatives, fellow conservatives, whatever, are going to say that it was a peaceful protest. It wasn't. There were people that stormed the Capitol. There were people that broke windows, broke down doors, went where they weren't supposed to go, stole property that they weren't supposed to steal. But it was a mostful peaceful protest, or mostly mostful. God, I'm not feeling good, guys. Please bear with me. Hopefully I'll be back on it next week. But it was definitely a mostly peaceful protest, meaning that there were more people being peaceful than there were being, riotous and obscure with what they were doing in their actions. But there were still people doing that. So the people on the right have to understand, no, it was not a completely peaceful protest. Absolutely not at all. But the left wants to say it's the worst day ever and it was an insurrection. Nobody went in there to take over anything. They were protesting the delegates that were voting. They were protesting an election that I know it's questionable whether you can talk about it or not on social media, but there's never been an election that was so questionable that I know of, right? I mean, you had the little chart where, everybody's graphing together, and then all of a sudden, it was just in the middle of the night, one particular candidate just randomly got 100% of votes in certain areas and went up and beat Trump. And then you had polling places putting up cardboard or whatever it was, foam up on the windows, blocking it so people couldn't see them counting and stuff. And then in my home state of Georgia, there was a pipe burst, but there never really was a pipe burst. And there were cameras showing that still, stuff was happening in there. Right or wrong, it's extremely questionable, and people have the right to question their elections, to question whether they're free and fair and legit. They did it in 2016 when Trump was elected, and then they act like it's the worst thing ever to question it in 2020, even though there's significantly more questionable things that happened for 2020. They've lost their mind. And then the last thing I want to say about this one before I show the little final clip we're going to look at is 2 cops did not die. No cops died on January 6th or because of January 6th. This is a lie. This is a lie. A cop did die of natural causes later that were unrelated to January 6th. okay? No one died from January 6th except for one person. That was Ashley Babbitt, an unarmed woman who was climbing through a window, shouldn't have been, but she was shot and killed by Capitol Police. He won't say her name, just like he won't say Lake and Riley's, because they don't want to count that, because it doesn't help them. It doesn't benefit them. Last little segment right here, and we'll get on out of here.
Biden. Help Biden. It's not about Biden. It's about the United States of America. And look, I don't want to get started.
They think he's going after Trump, but they think he knows what he's talking about, because that crowd is a Seth Meyers crowd. It's a Joe Biden crowd. You know, they have no idea what's going on. And what's funny is Joe Biden has no idea what's going on. He's completely lost it. But yeah, he has no idea where he was going with that. And you see that all the time. When he doesn't have his teleprompters, he doesn't have people telling him what to say, his note cards or whatever. He has no idea what he's talking about, where he's going. Look, links to both of the videos are going to be down below. Go check them out. I'm not going to play the whole thing of either one of them. Go check him out if you want to. It is Seth Meyers, so keep in mind two things. One, nobody watches Seth Meyers. And two, the 12 people that do watch Seth Meyers have all commented in the comment section. So when I did scroll through there to see just what were people's thoughts. Now, if this had been on a different channel, you might have got some more thoughts, kind of like what I have or what you probably have. But because this was on Seth Meyers' YouTube page, they are all brainwashed into the Biden cult, into the cult of the left, as you may want to consider it. We can compare his age to Trump, absolutely, but we can't deny the difference in cognitive decline. This man is not well. Shame on his handlers for continuing to push him out there. Shame on the DNC for supporting this elderly abuse is all I can call it, right? And this man should be in a nursing home somewhere, not in the White House, being the commander-in-chief with the nuclear codes. But people are wanting to put him back in there because of mean tweets from Trump or whatever. If you weren't already convinced, I hope this segment helped you determine for yourself, come to the realization that there's absolutely something wrong with Joe.
Let me start off with two words. Made in America.
What are you doing?
There's something wrong with Joe.
So Jimmy Kimmel's coming back to host the Oscars again this year. Yes, this Jimmy Kimmel.
The number of new cases is up more than 300% from a year ago. Dr. Fauci said that if hospitals get any more overcrowded, they're going to have to make some very tough choices about who gets an ICU bed. That choice doesn't seem so tough to me. Vaccinated person having a heart attack? Yes, come right on in. We'll take care of you. Unvaccinated guy who gobbled horse goo? Rest in peace, Wheezy.
So yeah, we basically just moved from one degenerate late night show host to another. This one, Jimmy Kimmel, being just one of the worst. I mean, one of the worst, right? Jimmy Kimmel is hosting the Oscars again. This time it's an election year. This is from AP News. And yeah, it's an election year. So what does that mean? That means that there's probably not going to be a whole lot of jokes or comedy involved with him hosting, even though he's supposed to be a comedian. I'm sure all we'll hear is Trump, 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 Trump. Vaccine deniers, election deniers, and, you know, all this retooled stuff. Nothing original, because there's nothing original about Jimmy Kimmel. A quick reference on the Oscars on what the ratings have been looking like lately. If you'll remember this from a few weeks ago now, I guess. So if you take a look here, this goes from 2013 to 2023. And one of the big drops there in the middle is from 2017 to 2018. Kimmel hosted in 2017. You see, it was kind of on a slow trajectory drop, nothing major. He hosted in 2017. It took a huge jump down in 2018. They announced that he would not be back for 2019, so the viewership went back up. And then, of course, it did its slow decline after having no host for a while. Then it came back up. So I'm very interested to see what's going to happen with him being back. He's also announced his plans to leave his late night show. Right here, this is, I don't know what this is, meow. Jimmy Kimmel plans to end his ABC Live talk show. Says he still has a little more than 2 years left. I think he made a tweet about this, which is weird because, you know, I thought everybody was leaving Twitter because of bad man Elon Musk there. But we can go into it, but it could be because of the drop and poor performance in his ratings. If we look here, we've got the Daily Show comeback. This is of just recently from latenighter.com. We see here ABC Jimmy Kimmel, 166,000 viewers. This is, let's see, that's the 18 to 49 demo. I think there's overall all viewers. Here we go. We've got Jimmy Kimmel, basically 1.5. It's 1,452,000. Late Show Stephen Colbert has more. Jimmy Fallon, shocked. Jimmy Fallon doesn't have as much as Jimmy Kimmel does. And then even like Seth Meyers and these guys down here, they've got pretty close. And in fact, up here, when you look at the demo, I mean, Seth Meyers is knocking on Jimmy Kimmel's door, and Jimmy Fallon does have more people watching in the key demo than Jimmy Kimmel. So you see the ratings are not doing great for Jimmy Kimmel. And they can rag all they want to on the right, but let's look at Gutfeld. Gutfeld right here. I mean, he's constantly over 2 million in viewership right here. He goes between 1 million and over 2 million right here in his demo. And if you look at Jimmy Kimmel, same info. And I think this is the key demo. Same one right here. Jimmy Kimmel's around 1,750 and 1,000. So he bats between 1,000 and 1,750. Gutfeld, somewhere down here, let's say, what is this? This is 500,000 to over 2 million. It's not even comparable. And Jimmy Kimmel, he's got other stuff going on, but maybe it's the lower ratings that's got him, talking about retirement and leaving the show, or maybe it's because of what might come out on somebody's flight logs that are being released as hinted by other people. I don't know who and I don't know what. I'm just saying maybe he's afraid of what might be coming out. Regardless, we'll see how things go. The Oscar ratings were kind of coming up there at the end a little bit, and they announced that he's going to be doing it, so we'll see. If you want to catch the Oscars, I will say this: there is a great channel that I watch. I don't know if they're going to be doing it on Rumble. I know they have a Rumble channel, but I know they're going to be doing it on YouTube. They're going to be doing a live stream of the Oscars, a watch party, and that is Film Threat. If you've never heard of them, they're awesome. They're great film critics. Chris Gore, I'm more familiar with him just because I've watched him and listened to him talk about filmmaking as I was in my journey of becoming a filmmaker early on. And you know what, if you don't want to give the Oscars your viewership and you want to watch with people who are actually in the know, that know what the customer wants, what the viewers want, and have been in that scene as filmmakers themselves, this is an awesome opportunity here to jump in and join the watch party Sunday night. And you know what, I mean, I may even pop up in there, who knows. I'd love to say hey to anybody who joins in there and recognizes the Morning Mayhem. So we'll see, but I'll probably check that out and see what's likely to be a dumpster fire, and not give them their ratings or viewership from me, but instead go through Film Threat. A direct link to that, they've already got it up, set as a premiere or upcoming or whatever. I've got the link to that specific stream down below, but definitely check out their channel too. Film Threat is a fantastic channel. I highly recommend checking it out. Look, that's it, guys. But before I let you go, I do want to talk real quick about another company that is not into the woke stuff, the agenda, the whatever. I mean, these are good people. Gruntworks Meat Company. That's gruntworksmc.com is their website. gruntworksmc.com. Gruntworks Meat Company. They got top quality meat and grocery store prices. Great for those on the carnivore keto diet, or anyone just likes top quality meat. I mean, it's great stuff. They offer a variety of grass-fed, Wagyu, Angus, regular cuts, and even some organs for those that are into that. All the meat is pasture raised, never any antibiotics, hormones, GMOs, or pesticides used. Made right here in America. 10 cents of every pound that is sold is donated to a veterans organization that they work with. They are very involved with trying to support our veterans, which is more than I can say for our own federal government, it seems like. But look, check them out today, gruntworksmc.com. A direct link will be in the description below. And when you go, use Mayhem 10. It's going to get you 10% off. And I'm telling you, when you stock up on those meats and you get a half cow, full cow, one of those Admiral boxes or whatever, it's got a slew of different stuff in there. 10% is going to help you out. Gives a kickback to the channel. It helps us out without costing you any extra. And it lets them know that we're supporting what they do and providing non-woke and non-gimmicky products, good quality products to American people. And I'm really excited about that. But guys, that's it for the show today. I do want to remind you again, full shows are out there every Friday, 10 a.m. We segmented them up, release them throughout the week. This week will be a little different. Monday at 9 a.m. I will have a State of the Union recap video that will be going out. So make sure you subscribe and turn on the notifications so you can be notified when that does go out. Because again, I am assuming that it will all go as planned. At 9 a.m. Monday morning, the State of the Union, which happened last night and I haven't had time to cover, that should go out at 9 a.m. Monday morning. So you're going to want to check that. If you've liked the video or you like what we do here, definitely like the video down below. Subscribe, follow, depending on what platform you're on. Leave a comment. Like I said, I've been getting some great interactions. Would love to interact with you. If you like what I'm doing, awesome, let me know. If you think I'm an absolute tool and an idiot, let me know that too. I'll see if I can't convince you otherwise. And you know what? If I'm wrong about anything, I'm not afraid to be wrong. You can point it out and I'll accept it. I'm okay with being wrong. That's the only way we grow, we change, and we adapt. And we need more people willing to do that. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We will see you Monday at 9 a.m. But outside of that, we'll see you next week.
I also watch the Discovery Channel. Do you watch it? You know what I've discovered? I need a girlfriend. That's what I've discovered. Once you've watched everything on the planet have sex, I think it's your turn. Bugs, rocks, plants, everything's getting laid. Like that young boy said in the Bible. Yes, even the dust mite. That's right, it lives in your eyebrow. Things are having sex on you while you're not having sex.